Live from New York, it's the show that ate way too much candy last night.
This guy.
You did. Every
This
time you
guy's out
passed
here eating
I
Necco
It's ridiculous.
wafers in the hallway.
I ate a lot of
Like a
Tootsie Rolls.
90-year-old.
Well,
or a 9-year-old.
okay. Who needs to win more, Dallas or Philadelphia?
Dallas, which is good because they're going to get it. Dallas needs it, and they're going to get it. Listen, Dallas loses, and their ability to beat the best teams in the league comes into question because they would have only played 2 top-tier teams. Now, I actually think at the midpoint of the season, some of their wins we now look upon more fondly. The dominating a Jets team that currently has a winning record, we look upon slightly more fondly.
Do we?
I don't. No.
Because at that time, that was the first game after the injury.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'll just speak for myself. I think Dallas has a few wins over mediocre opponents, but no wins yet over excellent opponents. I think the Chargers are mediocre, and they beat them. I think the Jets are mediocre, and they beat them. And
Rams.
so the Rams, exactly right, that was the one I was forgetting, are mediocre, and they annihilated them. So Dallas needs to prove that they can play their A game, sorry to steal a phrase from Brew, against the best teams in football. Philly, I think, can lose the game and remain confident, even if they shouldn't be as confident.
Right.
Because Dallas is, but right now, the NFC, Dallas, Philly, Detroit, Seattle, San Francisco, and the winner of the NFC South. That's only 6 teams. So some team, either a second team in the NFC South, the Vikings with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, the Rams. A bad team is going to be in.
Yep.
So the good teams are playing for one thing and one thing only: seeding, home field, winning your division to have the easier path. That's where this game is so critical, and that's where Dallas does need it more, but I believe they're going to get it because I think Dak has Philly's number, and I think Dallas, for large part, has Philly's number when Dak plays.
I don't agree with you on Dallas winning the game. You know, I'll save my pick. Obviously, Philly's my pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'll save my pick for the time.
I bet they're your pick.
But you never know. But it's close. I agree with you that it's bigger for Dallas. But I think you would admit it's close because of the thing you've pointed out over the last week or two. Philly's schedule.
Yeah.
Like after this game against Dallas, they've got the Chiefs, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas again, Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 5 games against 5
of the best teams.
So if you lose this, like this is one of the, I mean, it's probably viewed as, I won't say lighter. They're all tough. But this is one you feel like you definitely can get.
Because you're at home.
Right. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Next game against Dallas, you'll be on the road. But I still agree with you because Dallas's schedule gets tough at the end. They got a few. They got the Giants. They got
Carolina, Washington,
which Washington's still a division game. But then it gets tough after that.
Yep.
You see Seattle and Philly again, Buffalo, Miami. But to your point, Dallas needs to prove to everyone else. We all know they're good. We all know they're going to win or make the playoffs. What we don't know is, are they elite? Okay, because you're right, they beat a bunch of mediocre teams. When they faced another elite team that I still think San Francisco's elite, they didn't play close and
They got blown out.
They got hammered.
No.
Okay,
that's the
hammered.
problem.
And it's not only for us. Okay, what is this team about? It's also for them. Because they are human beings. So in their psyche, you have to have doubt if the one time you stepped up in class, you got destroyed. I think, Nick, they could lose this game. I get it with the standings. Winning the game is big.
27-24
right, they
and
lose
feel
close.
Okay.
That's fine.
Then they can feel good. We can, they are legit.
Yeah.
The San Francisco thing was an outlier. But they need to play tough or win this game for their own psyche.
So Josh pulled up this stat, and I agree with you guys. This whole you can beat up. What do you say? You can muscle up against.
They muscle up against
the chumps. The Patriots.
Chump change. The Patriots for sure.
I know it wasn't great. But here's Dak as an underdog, and I know, Nick, that you criticize Brock Purdy for not being able to be behind and come back or face adversity. Dak is an underdog, 1-7. So I don't know if this is Vegas having the Cowboys just pegged correctly, but Dak's lack of, let's say, a surprise game against teams that they're better than, that would be concerning, and it gives me pause and makes me think, if he's 1-7 and while he's an underdog, I guess Philly's going to win this one.
Listen, I would the gambler in me. I'd like to look at that closer as far as what is his record against the spread, because that would show you has he underachieved, overachieved, or achieved right to what they expected. I mean, when you're an underdog, you are supposed to lose based on what.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're supposed to lose it.
And
Are
right
we
now,
surprised he's 1-7 as an underdog?
No, sure, absolutely, to a degree, and the passer rating certainly jumps out at me. But I do think there is a level that we have to acknowledge that the Philadelphia Eagles have beaten Dak Prescott once since 2017. Dak is what?
Very different teams.
Okay, well, last year they weren't. Last year, Dak beat him.
When he beat him, Jalen Hurts didn't play.
But hold on.
Think that makes a difference?
Well, no, because they scored 33 points.
Still.
No, they hold on. No, I don't think last year the difference was. No,
Jalen Hurts didn't
having
him made no difference.
Brew, in that game, when I think they lost, do you think Philly lost because they didn't score enough in that game, or because Dallas scored 40?
The whole game is different when you have your star quarterback.
I understand that.
Field position for Dallas, number of possessions, time of possession. It all changes if Jalen Hurts
I understand that. My point was, it was last year's game was not a Philly can't move the ball because
Minshew had 3 turnovers.
I understand, and Dallas won 40-33, and we can. Yes, there is no matchup exactly like the one we're about to see, and there won't be one down the road again. Everything is unique and like a snowflake. I get that, but the point I am making is Dak Prescott, and we can show you the numbers in the NFC East, is dominant. Dak Prescott against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think we can show you the numbers for him in the division. If not, there it is. Dak Prescott, one of 5 quarterbacks ever that wins 80% of his divisional games.
I mean,
what? What?
Then you should
All those other guys
you should have
have
more postseason success. Then.
Yeah, all those other guys have Super
That's
Bowl.
a bad look of a graphic.
Is that Jim McMahon?
That is Jim.
Yeah, even he has a Super Bowl.
We dominated
He's the worst
for 2
quarterback up
decades the AFC East, and Dak is just 4/100ths of a tick below Tom Brady, and can't get to an NFC Championship game.
Wait, hold on. I'm now going to, on Micah Parsons' behalf, say exactly what I think people are talking about. Are we having a discussion right now about whether or not the Cowboys are going to win a playoff game?
You put a graphic where it was Tom Brady and then Dak Prescott this close to each other. So, yeah, I'm going to say one guy shows up in the playoffs and one guy doesn't. And it's a bizarre graphic. When you do that to Jimmy G, we have weeks. We have months of discussion.
Here is why it's relevant. They are playing a divisional game this week.
It's not relevant.
Okay. So
they're playing a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. They're not playing the Eagles from 2018.
Okay, I guess I've lost the plot to a degree, because somehow Dak's record as an underdog is relevant, which I think it is. You know why? Because he's an underdog this week. Counterpoint is how Dak has done in divisional games. I think is relevant. You know why? Because he's playing a divisional game this week. Dak, having lost to Philadelphia once since 2017, thrown out the window. When if the opposite were true, Brew, we have talked about San Francisco owning the Cowboys when Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback, when Jason Garrett was the head coach. We've talked about it. Yet that San Francisco has I guess both the playoff losses with Mike McCarthy.
Played every time.
Yeah, so yes, I am going to bring up a guy's success in divisional games when we are talking about
different Philly team.
Come on, as good as Tom Brady. He is. I saw the numbers.
He has had similar success in the NFC East as Brady had in the AFC East in the regular season. That's just what it is.
Yeah. This is totally different.
Is that not what it is?
Take this L and let's move on.
He's as good as Tom Brady.
Give him that L and let's move on.
He's almost better. How high would he jump above Tom Brady?
With a win?
Yeah.
Percentage-wise? Probably, yeah.
Probably better than Tom Brady. That's what's on the line.
Never use that graphic again, Nick.
Bad
please.
Graphic.
Please.
That's worse than your Jimmy G graphic.
Stay tuned.
Meanwhile, Dak Prescott, tail of the tape this season, Jalen's thrown for more yards, has more touchdowns. Turnovers have snuck up on him. Rushing TDs way out in front, obviously. Nick, we'll go with you. Brew, I changed my mind. We're going to start with you. Who do you trust more Sunday, Dak or Jalen?
Look, I'm not going to disrespect Dak Prescott. He's a good quarterback. Both of these guys are very good quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And, Nick, both of them are coming in hot. 3 weeks ago, they're both under fire for having not the seasons we expect. And now they've both caught fire in playing the last 2 weeks. So That being the case, I still want Jalen. I trust Jalen more. One, he's proven to be bigger in big games. All right, it's small sample size for both of them, but here we go. These are last year's playoffs, and each team has had one big game this year. San Francisco for Dallas, Miami for Philadelphia, and you see that Jalen's been much better. Obviously, he's won more, but every category essentially he's outplayed Dak Prescott. This is each team's second big game. It qualifies for that. So that's one reason I like Jalen. And then secondly, Nick, Jalen does have more help. Dak's got a lot of help. They got two really good receivers, but Philly's receivers are better.
No question.
The run game, Dallas is fine,
Philly's run game
but Philly's is better.
There's
Even
no
if you want to, I think Pollard is
might
as
be
good individually.
But the run game, that's the point Greg was making yesterday. That
and the offensive lines, Philly's a little bit better.
Especially if Tyron Smith doesn't play. Tyron Smith is still questionable because of the neck injury. So
with the help and everything,
Tyron Smith needs to play. For my answer to this question to hold, in a vacuum, I trust Jalen Hurts more than Dak Prescott. I think he has earned that. If you were to ask me, who would I rather have as my quarterback in a big game against opponent X? I would rather have Jalen. In this game, against that Philly secondary, I trust Dak Prescott more. Sam Howell had his way with the Philly secondary. Every good quarterback Philly played last year, if I'm allowed to bring that up, had their way with the Philly secondary. Dak Prescott last year, I know that Jalen wasn't there rooting on his team, but this Philly defense was there. He had his way with the Philly secondary. And so in this game, where I think that Dallas is going to, at some point, some team is going to have the game plan of, I know Devontae Smith is excellent. And Devontae, by the way, had a great game against Washington as well last week. And I know Philly's run game can be dominant. You know what? I'm sick of A.J. Brown having 125 yards.
My Kelsey take.
Well, here's the thing. Kelsey has been repeatedly double-teamed and somehow for 5 years has found openings. I don't think A.J. Brown has been consistently doubled because Devontae's so scary, because you have to dedicate so much to the run game. But if we show you the numbers thus far this year, A.J. Brown, Hurts to Brown has been about as good as any combo aside from Tua to Tyreek in the league. The rest of it has been a little sketchy, which is surprising because Devontae Smith is so good. Dallas Goedert is good. So if I'm Dallas, I think they can get home to a degree on Hurts, who's not running as much this year. So I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I trust Hurts more overall.
You think Dallas's defense will fare better?
Yes, exactly right. I think
Phillies
and I think Dak's track record of success against Philadelphia will pay dividends this week.
Can I push back on the trusting Jalen, because I think that we, in general, trust Jalen and we have a memory of him taking care of the football. He's not taking care of the football. He's got one clean game where he hasn't thrown an interception or lost a fumble this year. Last 3 weeks, he lost a fumble on the goal line. Week 7, lost a fumble and an interception. And then it's week 6 with the Jets, 3 turnovers. Jalen, this year compared to last year, he's got 11 turnovers, and only Desmond Ridder has more, and he just lost his job. So by the numbers, I know we have this memory of Jalen taking care of the ball. That's not who he is. And I could see Micah getting after him, throwing a back foot, bad idea, interception, and all of a sudden that changes the game. So,
well, I mean, I obviously agree with that point. I agreed with it when I said it last week, and you yelled at me and said he was in the Super Bowl, and why won't I give him the benefit of the doubt? I agree with you that Jalen Hurts had, prior to last year, was not a guy who was incredibly careful with the football. This year has not been incredibly careful with the football. It's the inverse of Dak. The point that I was trying to make previously was that Dak's outlier year was high turnovers last year. Jalen doesn't have a big enough sample to call either an outlier. But his first year as a full-time starter, it's not like he took care of the ball like crazy. And this year he's not taking care of the ball like crazy. What I will say about him is this year, to me, he has stepped up. He springboarded from the Super Bowl and launched stepping himself up as a passer.
He's better as a passer.
He's throwing the ball more and more down the field so far this year, so I'll give him a little more dispensation on the turnovers. What he's not doing is running as much, and I think it's because he's banged up and hurt.
And like I said, whilst the last 2 weeks he has protected, he had 1 interception in the last 2 games.
Yeah, so, since the Jets game, since the near pick six against the Jets game. The fumbles.
He's a running quarterback. He's going to, unfortunately, look at Lamar. Lamar
lost the fumble on the brotherly shove.
When you run it, you're going to fumble.
If you take all the starting quarterbacks, he's got the most turnovers. It's a bad stat. Eagles have been playing with fire for a long time. They're due to lose this one. I'm sorry, Dusty. Dusty agrees with me. It's one of the few Eagles takes that he doesn't push back.
You got your upset alert out already.
I agree with your general sentiment there.
Odds to win the NFC. Philly's in 1. San Francisco's 2. Dallas is 3. Then the Lions, and then the Seahawks. We'll play a game of what if. Dallas beats Philly. Again, what if? Should they be the new favorites?
Absolutely, yes.
49ers slumping, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Niners can't move to 1 before we've seen them win a game in a month. And they're off this week, right? Like, that's just I know you're smirking at me, Brew, but they should not. Right now, there are real questions about the Niners. Mm-hmm. Whether people want to say I'm overstating them, I'm certainly not. They're certainly not non-existent. And so the Niners are not going to be elevated. Brew gave a long dissertation yesterday about how the Lions are not to be taken seriously. So they can't be moved up to number 1. If Dallas wins this game, they'll be in pole position for not necessarily the 1 seed, because Detroit might be, but the 1 or the 2 seed. They would have answered the question. They would have continued the domination over Philadelphia that they've exhibited for the last 5 years. That's relevant to some, less relevant to others. And I think that they would have to be the fair favorites in the NFC. It wouldn't be weird.
It'd be weird to just have them jump.
It would be weird because it shouldn't be the case.
Then who would it be?
The 49ers. All right.
Why?
They all have bad situations, okay?
Lose 3 games in a row
They've lost 3 straight. I get it. But Dallas got beat down 42-10 by those Niners. And here's what it is. You could put Dallas ahead of everybody else in the NFC.
So you would have Philly third?
Can you put them ahead of – no, my point is this. San Francisco, until proven otherwise, has the Cowboys' number. But styles make fights, all right? It works like that in almost every sport. And for some reason, they have Dallas's number. They've beaten them 3 straight times. All 3 games have been big. 2 of them have been playoffs. And what is it? Well, one thing, Dallas, we know, thrives off of getting turnovers, winning the turnover game. They don't win it against the Niners. Now, if you want to say Brock Purdy's this is the real Brock Purdy,
sure,
that's different. But in the 3 games they've played, the last 3, Dallas has had 7 turnovers. San Francisco's had 3.
Can I ask you,
and 2 of them have been close games.
That's all true.
That's why they have the Cowboys number.
I agree the Niners have the Cowboys number. That does not mean they should be the favorites.
Well, they better hope somebody else beats the Niners.
Right now, this moment. Would it be fair to say Cincinnati should have better Super Bowl odds than the Cleveland Browns?
Yes.
Well, they have. Hold on a second. They both have the same record, and Cincinnati can't beat Cleveland. We've seen that year after year. Okay, but we have no evidence.
Cleveland's quarterback is hurt.
Okay,
their starter.
Right, but there are certain times that a team has your number, but you still have earned the right to be considered the favorite.
This is a good team with your number.
So, just real quick, if Philly wins, San Francisco and Cleveland, for the record, have the same number of losses.
You think Cleveland's as good as San Francisco? I know they beat them.
They have the same number of losses, and one beat the other one head-to-head.
But this is not the standings. Should we just go get USA Today?
The tiers are not the standings.
But nothing is the standings. We've got a tapestry.
I understand, but I do think, because I want to say something about that real quick, then we can move on. I agree with you that simply beating a team does not make you better than them. But if you beat them and you have a better record than them, then at some point the question has to be asked, how can we prove we're better? That's the argument I had with you with Jacksonville and Buffalo. Yes, when the Colts beat the Chiefs last year, when the Chiefs had a far better record than them I didn't think they were better. But if Jacksonville beat you head-to-head and has a better overall record, at some point the evidence has to matter. And so I agree with you. Dallas has a hard time beating San Francisco. They should be the favorites if they beat Philadelphia.
Looks like the only answer. It can't be Philly if they lose. It can't be San Francisco. They lost 3 in a row. And it can't be Dallas. Can't jump the 49ers because they own them.
So it's Detroit?
So it looks like it's
Detroit, who's not a contender.
Well, they beat the Chiefs, and they have the same records. I guess they're better than
Well,
the
there you
Chiefs.
go.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.